Welcome back. I wanted to share with you some thoughts today about skepticism. Philosophical skepticism was an outgrowth, scholars believe, of Plato's Academy, when a group of philosophers decided to take on a slightly different philosophical stance toward traditional philosophical questions. The philosophical stance amounted more or less to something like this. Whenever we're faced with equally compelling arguments for opposite conclusions, we should withhold assent. Now, what these philosophers added to that is that we should always be engaged in the search for equally compelling arguments on opposite sides of an issue. So, for example, you might think of a controversial issue like the existence of God, and you might imagine a case where you have a really strong argument that has as its conclusion that God exists. Your job as a skeptic is then to search for the strongest argument you can for the opposite conclusion. And the thought was that if you can find equally strong arguments on either side of an issue, then what you should do is withhold assent. Withholding assent is not quite the same as sitting on the fence about an issue. On the contrary, it's reserving judgment on the basis of having worked long and hard and discovered that the most the intellect can deliver is equally strong arguments for opposite conclusions. It's for this reason that the ancient skeptics thought that finding equally strong arguments for opposite conclusions could lead to a sort of inner form of deep contentment or happiness. Because if you find two arguments that are equally strong for a conclusion and its opposite, then this means that the human intellect is not up to the job of deciding the issue. So you can sort of rest at ease, knowing in confidence that the human mind will never know one way or the other which side is correct. Philosophical skepticism was very important to Descartes because he wanted to show that at least about some issues we could find arguments that are so strong that we could never find equally strong opposing arguments. Naturally, he was concerned with the question of the existence of God and the immortality of the soul. But naturally, Descartes was also concerned with showing that we could have knowledge about the natural world.